Senator Ludlam.
Thank you, President. My question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Evans. On what basis have grossly irresponsible statements been made by lawyers within our Cabinet, the Prime Minister saying that the work of WikiLeaks was illegal, the Attorney-General saying that Mr Julian Assange had fled Sweden, and the former Attorney-General even threatening to cancel this Australian citizen's passport?
The Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Evans.
Thank you, Mr President. I thank the Senator for his question, which I got advised of was on Twitter. So thank you for giving us pre-warning of the question. It doesn't make answering it any easier, but I do appreciate that at least my staff are. I personally haven't yet mastered Twitter, and I'm of the view that anyone over 20 shouldn't play with it. But anyway, Mr. President.
Order. Minister. Minister.
I neither tweet nor Twitter, but can I say that the question obviously goes to the issue of Mr Julian Assange, and as the Senator would be aware, there's been some developments in matters concerning him today, where he has sought, as I understand, protection in a consulate in London, and I understand that's designed to have him be considered for asylum in Ecuador. Mr. President,
Senator Evans, Senator Ludlam.
My point of order is directly to one of relevance. I didn't actually mention Twitter in my question. I also didn't ask for an exposition of what has occurred in London overnight. I'm interested in the Minister justifying the statements by senior members of the Australian government about the illegality of the work of WikiLeaks, and I ask you to draw the Minister to that question.
I do draw the Minister's attention to the question. The Minister has 46 seconds remaining to answer the question. The Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I wasn't trying to be unhelpful, but the Senate has asked questions about this some time ago. This has been debated in the Senate previously by him, and questions have been asked. I'm not sure how seeking to again debate with the government or ask questions of the government about those issues, which I think are probably 6 months, a year old now, is particularly helpful. But the government has continued to support Mr Assange in terms of his making sure he has proper consular assistance. What occurs to him in terms of the laws of other countries is obviously a question for them, but we continue to provide whatever assistance we can.
Time has expired. Senator Ludlam.
Thanks, President. Well, with friends like the Australian government, who needs enemies, hey? Mr President, I ask...
Order. 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 Order.
I'm pretty sure shriek...
Order. Order. I remind senators that comments at the start of questions is out of order. 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 Wait a minute, Senator Ludlam. When there's silence, you are entitled to be heard in silence. Senator Ludlam.
Thank you, President. I ask a supplementary question. Will the government apologise for these comments and withdraw these prejudicial statements made against an Australian citizen who has not been charged with any crime in any country?
Order. 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 Senator Wong. Senator Cash. Senator The Minister.
Mr President, I'm not sure that I've got anything to add to what both the Prime Minister and the Attorney-General have said in relation to these matters previously. As I understand, Mr Assange's legal proceedings relate to a request by Sweden for his extradition from the UK for an investigation related to alleged sexual offences. Those matters have been proceeding in England according to British law, as they should. As I say, this government continues to provide Mr Assange with any consular assistance we can or that he seeks. The decisions about how he responds to these matters, including seeking asylum in the Ecuadorian consulate, is obviously a question for him. Quite frankly, Senator, it doesn't matter or not whether I'm a friend or not of Mr Assange. He has the full rights of an Australian citizen. He's received the full support that any other Australian would receive from our consular services.
Senator Ludlam.
President, a further supplementary. Given that Australian citizen Julian Assange feels that he has been effectively abandoned by his government and has indeed sought asylum in Ecuador, will the government finally seek assurances from the United States?
Order.
President, there's a great deal of shrieking going on.
Order. Order. Senator Ludlam is entitled to be heard in silence. Order. 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 Now wait, Senator Ludlam. Senator Ludlam.
Thank you, President. Will the government seek assurances from the United States government that they will not prosecute this Australian citizen for his journalism and his publishing work?
Order. 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 The Minister.
Mr President, as I understand the current proceedings Mr Assange is dealing with is seeking asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. I'm not sure why our response would be directed at the United States of America. What we have made clear in previous advice to the Senate is that we have no advice from US officials of any indictment against Mr Assange, or that the US has decided to seek his extradition. That's, I think, been repeated by US officials. Mr President, as I say, Mr Assange is been sought by the Swedish authorities for extradition from the UK. Legal proceedings have taken place in recent months. The question of how he responds to that is clearly a matter for him, but the Australian government continues to provide the same consular services to him as we would provide to any other citizen.